أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. طيب، اللهم اغفر لنا وللشيخ ولوالديه وللحاضرين. يقول المؤلف رحمه الله وإياه في شروط وجوب القصاص واستيفائه: ويشترط لجواز استيفائه شروط ثلاثة: أحدها أن يكون لمكلف، فإن كان لغيره أو له فيه حق وإن قل لم يجز استيفاؤه، وإن استوفى غير المكلف حقه بنفسه أجزأ ذلك. الثاني اتفاق جميع المستحقين على استيفائه، فإن لم يأذن فيه بعضهم أو كان فيه غائب لم يجز استيفاؤه، فإن استوفاه بعضهم فلا قصاص عليه، وعليه بقية ديته له، ولشركائه حقهم في تركة الجاني، ويستحق القصاص كل من يرث المال على قدر مواريثهم. الثالث الأمن من التعدي في الاستيفاء، فلو كان الجاني حاملا لم يجز استيفاء القصاص منها في نفس ولا جرح، ولا استيفاء حد منها حتى تضع ولدها ويستغنى عنها. فصل: ويسقط بعد وجوبه بأمور ثلاثة.
طيب إن شاء الله نشرح ثم نكمل. طيب. We, as we mentioned last week, are speaking only here when it comes to the matter of qisas, and that's the person who was killed, qatl amd, the person who was killed someone else on purpose with their intention, and there are 4 conditions in order for that to become an obligation or even an option for the family. Number 1, that the person needs to be mukallaf, so they need to know what they were doing and be of age, etc. Number 2, that the person that they killed needs to be someone who was prohibited to be killed and he wasn't allowed to be killed. Number 3, that the person needs to be the same status or above in terms of religion and freedom. And number 4, that the person is not the father of the person or someone that is going to inherit from them. We continue now, subsection. There are 3 conditions for the actual execution of retribution. He says, rahimahullah, ويشرط لجواز استيفاء القصاص شروط ثلاثة: أحدها أن يكون لمكلف، فإن كان لغيره أو له فيه حق وإن قل لم يجوز استيفاؤه، وإن استوفى غير المكلف حقه بنفسه أجزأ ذلك. First, the blood custodian must be mukallaf. So the person who is now going to decide, do I want the qisas, do I want the person to die, or do I want to accept the blood money, that person needs to be mukallaf. Why? Because we have that rule. We have the rule of idra'ul hudud bishubuhat. Translation, leave off the penalties if there is a doubt. Leave off the penalties if there is a doubt. So here, the person is not mukallaf, they're not sane, or they're young. So how can we kill the person and we don't know what they would have chosen? So what happens in the case of someone who's young? It's easy because you wait until they're older. When they're older and now they're mature and they're able to make a decision, then you can ask them. The ones who are not sane, if they're people who come in and out of sanity, let's say someone, if they take medicine, they're okay, but if they don't take the medicine, then they're insane. Now there's no medicine for it, so they're not cured from their sickness, or their sickness is not under control. But in 10 years' time, they make a medicine that now brings back their sanity or keeps them sane, and so now you can actually ask them, and they've got the mental capacity to answer you according to what they believe they want, then no issue. But if it's a person who they're insane and there's nothing bringing them back, khalas, they're insane and this insanity remains with them until the time that they pass, there's 2 main opinions for the ulama. One is that the person cannot be killed because the insane person can't make a decision, so there's a doubt what he would have chosen, and so this person stays alive. You can accept the diyah or to completely let the person go. But to kill him is not an option. Another opinion of the ulama is that the guardian of this person will choose. Just like the guardian of the person who is insane is responsible for his well-being, responsible for his wealth, example, he pays zakat on his behalf, he's meant to look out for the best interest of this child. So what's in the best interest of this child? Is it for that person to be killed, or is it for him to accept the diyah? This is another opinion. And usually when it comes to these types of matters, it will be in the country that applies it or in the state that applies it. They will have which opinion they choose in the matter. But the person who is young, it is waited until he is older and mature for him to decide. Number two, if a person is insane, he can't make that choice, then the asl, the principle, the default position is that he is not killed. So first, the blood custodian must be mukallaf. If it is for a non-mukallaf, or if one of the blood custodians, no matter how small his share, is not mukallaf, then taking retribution is not permitted. If the non-mukallaf executes the retribution himself, it will suffice. So, let's say this non-mukallaf, so someone who's insane or young, even if their share is 1/12, 1/8, something very, very, very small, that they would have inherited from that person, it is not allowed for them to kill the person who killed the person they would have inherited off until it becomes clear. Let's say that person though, he went and killed the person who killed. He killed the murderer. That person who is insane, someone told him, listen, go and kill that person, or he was sane enough to know that he done something wrong, and so he went and killed him himself. Khalas, this person has cleared the blood of that person, and now what happens to the blood money we'll speak about inshallah when we get to it. But the person who was insane, now if he has wealth, he has to give to the people who he took the decision on behalf of. Okay, because if a person killed someone without the complete family's acceptance, if he killed them, there's nothing on them because it was a choice to be killed. So they're not going to get killed, we'll speak about it. But now they have to pay the diyah, the blood money, to the rest of the family according to what each person would have inherited. الثاني اتفاق جميع المستحقين على استيفائه. Second is that all of the entitled blood custodians must agree on the execution of retribution. Yani all of the people that are going to inherit, every single one of them, they all need to agree that we're going to kill the person. If even one person says we're not going to kill him, then the person is not to be killed. فإن لم يأذى فيه بعضهم أو كان فيهم غائب لم يجوز استيفاؤه فإن استوفاه بعضهم فلا قصاص عليه وعليه بقية ديته له ولشركائه حقهم في تركة الجاني ويستحق القصاص كل من يرث المال على قدر مواريثهم. If some of them do not agree or are absent, for example they were traveling, you have to wait until they come back. If some of them do not agree or are absent, retribution may not be executed. We're talking retribution means killing. May not be executed. If one of them carries it out, there will be no retribution against him, but he will owe the remaining portion of the indemnity, yani the blood money. His co-heirs will be entitled to their shares of the indemnity taken from the murderer's estate. Yani the one who was killed, the actual murderer, he obviously has to pay it. All of the victims' co-heirs deserve the right of qisas in proportion to their shares of the inheritance. All of the victims' co-heirs deserve the right of qisas in proportion to their shares of the inheritance. Let's just say 4 brothers were going to be the blood custodians. So their father died, someone murdered their father, and now there's 4 brothers. So they're all going to inherit 25% each. Let's say there's no one else there's no mother, there's no wife, there's no one else. Okay, only these 4 boys that are going to inherit. So they're going to take 25% each. And one of the brothers said, I can't wait, I'm going to go and kill him. I don't care what my family brothers say, I'm going to go and kill him. So he went and killed him. Now what's left? It's as if he took his share. What's left? 75%. Now 75% of the murderer's estate will go to the family. It's like he took his own haqq. أحمد اضربهم أدبهم وأخبره حتى لا يسأل أسئلة خلال الدرس. الثالث الأمن من التعدي في الاستيفاء فلو كان الجاني حاملا لم يجوز استيفاء القصاص منها في نفس ولا في جرح ولا استيفاء حد منها حتى تضع ولدها ويستغني عنها. Third is assurance of no transgression in execution. If the offender is a pregnant woman, in a transgression, and it's not going to go and harm anyone else. If the offender is a pregnant woman, it is not permissible to carry out qisas, whether in retaliation for murder or in a wound Yani if she, for example, was to stab someone or slice someone, and then the punishment is for her to be sliced as well. Or in a wound, nor is it permissible to execute a had, a penal code. Yani she drank alcohol publicly and she was caught and found guilty and for her to be lashed. And 2, she gives birth and her child becomes independent of her. Only when we're sure that it is safe now for the child, that his mother gets punished, and that we can only be sure of when 1, she gives birth, 2, now he's independent of her. Yani if she's pregnant, obviously if she's affected, the baby could be affected. And if she's gives birth but she's breastfeeding, if she's affected, the baby's milk could also be affected, or maybe she can't carry out her duties. So once he's independent of her and others can look after her, after the child, then this is when the retribution is carried out. So these are the 3 conditions that need to be there in order for it to be carried out. And then we're going to speak about when it becomes void. Number 1, that the person was mukallaf. Jayyid, the person who is asking for it, asking for the execution to happen, that person is mukallaf. Naam, and the ones that inherit are all mukallafun. Number 2, that all of the people that are going to inherit, all of them agree. All of them agree that we want retribution from this person. Number 3, that we are not going to cause any ongoing harm to anyone else. So if the woman is pregnant, then this woman is imprisoned or she's held until we make sure that the baby is looked after, is independent and can be looked after by someone else. Then and only then do we carry out the qisas if that's what the family asks for.
قال المؤلف رحمه الله وإياه فصل ويسقط بعد وجوبه بأمور 3 أحدها العفو عنه أو عن بعضه فإن عفى بعض الورثة عن حقه أو عن بعضه سقط كلهم وللباقين حقهم من الدية وإن كان العفو عن مال فله حقه من الدية وإلا فليس له إلا الثواب. الثاني أن يرث القاتل أو بعض ولده شيئا من دمه. الثالث أن يموت القاتل فيسقط وتجب الدية في تركته ولو قتل 1 أو 2 عمدا فاتفق أولياؤهما على قتله أو قتله بهما قتل بهما وإن تشاحوا في استيفاء المستوفى قتل بالأول وللثاني الدية فإن سقط قصاص الأول فللأولياء الثاني استيفاؤه ويستوفى القصاص بالسيف في العنق ولا يمثل به إلا أن يفعل شيئا فيفعل به مثله.
فصل ويسقط بعد وجوبه بأمور 3. There are 3 matters that will make it void. Yani if any of these things are there, automatically the qisas is not going to be applicable. أحدها العفو عنه أو عن بعضه فلو عفى بعض الورثة عن حقه أو عن بعضه سقط كله وللباقين حقهم من الدية وإن كان العفو على مال فله حقه من الدية وإلا فليس له إلا الثواب. First, pardoning. So if some of the co-heirs waive their right to all or part of the retribution, it all becomes void and the remaining co-heirs are entitled to their share of the indemnity. If pardoning was in return for compensation, he will be entitled to his share of the indemnity. Otherwise, he will only be entitled to the reward of the hereafter. So if we said all of them need to agree to kill the person, that we want retribution. Here, if even one of them says, I forgive him, then automatically he can't be killed. Or it's automatic. If there's 20 people and even one says, I don't want him to die, khalas. Now you can't kill the person, there's no retribution. The pardoning is of 2 types. Number 1, that you pardon and you take your share of the blood money, or there can be a negotiated amount as we mentioned, or you say, I forgive altogether, I don't want anything. I only want my reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now I forgive altogether. Then the rest of the blood money obviously has to be paid, but this person gives up his share. Some of the ulama said no, they still have to give all of the blood money, but that person leaves his share. Yani he doesn't take anything from it altogether. الثاني أن يرث القاتل أو بعض ولده شيئا من دمه. Second, if the killer inherits the entitlement to retribution, or if one of his offspring does. So if a person killed someone and he would have a say in whether the person is to be killed or not, then automatically it's void. Why? Because the person can't vote against killing himself. And this answered our point last week. Now, that if he killed someone and he was going to inherit, or his children, they're going to benefit from it, he doesn't have a say in saying, do I want the person to be killed or not? Because you can't vote to kill yourself. Okay, this was the reasoning that I found with the statements of the ulama. So if a person, they were the killer, we said them, no problem. But then the inheritors, his offspring, now his children as well, because the killer doesn't inherit, so he doesn't have a say, he's not allowed to vote, and because the children are going to benefit, then he also doesn't have a say here, because the benefit is going to go to them. In terms of if they were to take anything, and the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Qatilu la yarith. The killer doesn't inherit. الثالث أن يموت القاتل فيسقط وتجب الدية في تركته. The third, if the killer dies, then qisas will not be executable, and the indemnity will be binding on his estate. Obviously, if as the trial is going, or let's say the person killed someone and he had a young child, and we're waiting for that child to grow older in order to ask what they want to do, and it was 5 years wait, and the person died. Khalas. You can't obviously kill the person, but what you can take is the diyah if that's what you want. ولو قتل واحد اثنين عمدا فاتفق أولياؤهما على قتله بهما جاز وإن تشاحوا في المستوفي قتل بالأول وللثاني الدية فإن سقط قصاص الأول فللأولياء الثاني استيفاؤه. If now we've spoken about what makes it void. Now you have those three things. Number one, that they forgive, or even if one person forgives, that the killer or his children, they'll inherit from the person that they killed. And number three, if the killer dies. These are things that now make it void. Now we move on to another matter. If one person intentionally kills two people, or more طبعا. If one person intentionally kills two people, and their blood custodians agree on having him killed in retaliation for both, he will be killed in retaliation for both. This is an easy one. If they dispute over the execution of retribution, he will be killed in retaliation for the first, and their co-heirs of the second will be entitled to indemnity. If now they differ, one person wants him to be killed, the other person wants him to stay alive. So the ones that want him to be killed, he can be killed from that one, and the ones that want to take the blood money, then they can take the blood money from him. If the right to retribution for the first becomes void, the blood custodians of the second will be entitled to carry out qisas. If the first party, because they have the preference, because he was the one that killed first, so the obligation falls on them first and foremost. If they say, khalas, we only want the blood money, then the second family can say, we want him to die. Okay, and if one chooses this, the other can choose the other. And if obviously they both choose the blood money, then they can get the blood money for both. ويصاف القصاص بالسيف في العنق. And qisas is exacted by striking the neck with the sword. How do you kill someone if we were to rule that they are to die? Then you get a nice sharp sword, and again the government will have professionals appointed for this, and their head is separated from their shoulders. Jayyid. You can actually find videos of this online. Now you don't have to get into any crazy websites. You can probably find it on Twitter easy. And of this happening in Saudi, because these things are public. When they are done, they're carried out in public. So sometimes a person, even though they're not meant to, they'll sneak in a phone recording and you'll find it. Now, so there are men, they pull out long swords and they quickly slice off. Yani very, very, very easy, very quick. There is no humiliating, there's nothing of that sort. Now, they chop off the head and now the person is dead. وَلَا يُمَثَّلُ بِهِ إِلَّا أَنْ يَفْعَلَ شَيْئًا فَيُفْعَلُ بِهِ مِثْلُهُ. He will not be mutilated. Yani the person does not have anything done to him after he's dead. Khalas. If he's dead, you pack up the body and you move on. Now, you don't torture the body, you don't humiliate the body, you don't drag the body, you don't hang the body up in this particular case. Hirab and other things, we'll get to it inshallah. We speak about other types of punishments. But in this particular case, someone murdered someone else, then he was killed in the rules of an eye for an eye, then the person is to be killed and that's it. Nothing is done to deform or mutilate his body unless he done something to the body. Unless he done something to the body. So let's say, for example, he burnt the face of the person. He burnt the face of the person, then he can be burnt. Now, he electrocuted someone, then he can be electrocuted. He, for example, tortured the person by slicing them with a knife before they passed away. Then that will happen to him. Okay, that will happen to him and then he will be killed. Jayyid, it is an eye for an eye. What he done will be done to him. But if he just murdered, and he shot someone, whatever it was, and he ran someone over on purpose, now khalas, the person is put to death and that's it. If he done something though, then it is done to him. And that is obviously Islam's justice. That you done something and now you are being punished with it. Taban, there's one exception. What's the exception? What's the... No, what's the exception? إذا ما كان عاقلا لن يحدث أي شيء من هذا القبيل. To the punishment. What's something that if a person does, we don't do to them? Sheikh, you're not allowed to answer. لا. Then you're gonna get here أصلا.
شيخ يمكن ما فهم السؤال يا شيخ. شيخ موضوع ثاني.
هو؟ لا فاهم جيدا هو.
If he kills himself?
حبيبي if he kills himself عايز يعمل A punishment, something that he punishes someone with that we're not allowed to punish him with. Fire, جيد. Fire. Okay, because no one punished with the fire except Allah as the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith. نعم.
ازاي جبته غلط؟
ممكن يفعل به أشياء ممكن طبعا ليس لا نأتي بشخص لكن عقوبة نعم نفعل أشياء لكن أدب نفسك محمود اضربه لا أنت تحتاج كريم اضربهما هذا لأنه تأخر وهذا لأنه سأله سؤالا no one punishes with the fire except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and this is why some of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they didn't like what Ali radiallahu anhu done to those who said that he is a god. In the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, those who Allahu, now they said that he is Allah, ayyadan billah, like Abdullah bin Saba and others. Ali radiallahu anhu, he punished them with fire. And the other Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they didn't like this. And they told him that this was wrong. Now, and subhanallah, to show you how wicked these people were, they said, no one punished me with the fire except the Lord of the fire. That's a proof that you're Allah. Yani, subhanallah, some people, they just don't get it. Allah understand. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, we'll stop here and we'll continue with the partnering for murder in next week's lesson. هذا والله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله محمد وصحبه أجمعين. Any question about anything mentioned, Shabab? تفضل.
A long question.
A long question?
يعني
Summarize.
يعني if someone kills a father, for example, and the father has a baby that's just been born,
نعم.
we wait until he لغاية ما يبلغ.
نعم.
طيب, what if in this period someone else from the inheritors dies?
Doesn't matter. We don't punish a person with death if there's a shubha, if there's a question mark. Do we know what the kid is going to choose? Is that his haqq or not?
Yes.
So we wait.
What I mean, someone else who's inheriting, he died.
أنا فاهم عليك, أنا فاهم.
Do we check the other inheritors of that one person, or we ignore? يعني, that person doesn't count anymore for killing the killer.
Good question. That's a very good question. Because now, at the time of his death, this person was going to inherit. But now we have to wait until the people. The problem is it goes now off the inheritance. Because sometimes it's called something called hijab in inheritance. So let's say you got brothers. Let's say you got 3 brothers. Okay? And then the brothers, they've got children. The children, so the grandchildren, you got a dad, grandfather, you got his sons, you got grandchildren. The grandfather dies. Who's going to inherit? Only the children, sah? The grandchildren have nothing. Why? Because they block the grandchildren. They block the grandchildren. If the grandfather passes away, the boys are going to inherit. If one of them passes away, one of the children passes away, and now you have only 2 boys left, do the grandchildren still inherit if the grandfather passes away? In general, no. Right? Because they're blocked. They're blocked by the 2 boys. So, could it be, I've got to check, I'm not sure, Allahu Alam. Could it be that they inherit if they're not blocked? Possibly. But I'm not sure. Allahu Alam. So, do they have a say or not? Allahu Alam. I'm not sure.
And can you change
One
it?
question.
حسنا نقطة لي في من القضايا اللي كانت مشهورة في السعودية الله يحسن إليك رجل كان عليه قضية وكانت المرأة حامل فانتظروا حتى وضعت وبلغ والسجين هذا صار معروف في السجن ولكن في النهاية سبحان الله ما تم تنفيذ القصاص يعني حتى دخلوا فيها القبائل بعض الأمراء لكن سبحان الله نفذ يعني كانت محزنة صراحة
لكن كم انتظروا؟
والله 20 سنة تقريبا لأنه
ثم اختار هذا الولد
بلغ لكن تم التأخير حتى يعني يتغير رأي شيء لأنه خلاص سبحان الله
يحدث.
الله يستر.
شيخ إذا هو قتل 2 وقول الدية 100,000 دولار بده يعطي 50 ولا 100%؟
لا 100 لكل شخص دية.
إذا معه مثلا بس 100,000 في يعطي 50 ولا 50؟
هن فين يتفق إذا بدهم. فين يتفق إذا بدهم وإلا يعني ممكن يشترط الحكومة تشترط عليه إنه يروح يشتغل ويجمع مصاري ويعطيهم.
في يعطيهم وقت.
Yeah, like there's it's not like he has to pay right now. That it's fard right now. But if he doesn't have it, what does he do? That's where different rules will apply different places. Some, okay, what can you sow? Can you work and pay them? Because it says the debt on his neck now. It says the debt on his neck. Some he says in jail. Some people come give sadaqah. Different people are different.
هل الدين من شخص لآخر؟
لا. بس بين الذكر والأنثى. بس إنه
يعني كم الدية؟
سنتكلم عنها إن شاء الله. الأصل 100 إبل. بس إذا العرف إنه التعامل بالذهب فبالذهب وبالفضة بالفضة. هل أيام مئات الألوف ما تخاف.
Sheikh, what does istifa mean?
Istifa means to implementation, to be done.
شيخ معلش انت كنت قلت في اول درس تقريبا هل ممكن يبقى لو هو تم القصاص مفيش دية ولا ممكن يكون في قصاص ودية؟
لا قصاص أو دية. قصاص أو دية. إذا اختاروا القصاص لأن هذا حقهم. يعني هذا حقهم. إذا ما يريدون القصاص يأخذون حقهم من الدية. كل واحد حسب كم سيرث من المقتول. فإذا اتفقوا يتنازلون عن حقهم من الدية من أجل القصاص. واحد أو اثنين. A person either chooses the قصاص, retribution, or the diyah, the blood money, the indemnity. That's why when a person forgives, even if there's 20 people and only one forgives, that's why he can't be killed. Because you can't split a person in two. You can't put him in different shares. And you can't take 1/20th of his life and pay 19/20 to the people. You can't do that. You can't split him up. That's why he's either going to die or you're going to take the blood money.
شيخ لو حد قتل 2 كل واحد ليه اختيار. ممكن حد عايز يقتله والتاني عايز ياخد الدية. بيعرف التاني يختار ايه؟
يتكلمون مع بعض ما في
يعني
مشكلة.
طب ايه الفايدة لو هما الاثنين قالوا اللي عايزين يقتلوه؟
خلاص يقتل.
طيب بس مش تقتله مرتين يعني.
لا مرة واحدة.
طيب فانت كده الأذكى ان واحد يختار القتل والتاني يختار الفلوس.
شكلك من بني اسرائيل شيء؟ ما شاء الله ذكاء عجيب بالمال اللهم بارك. في ناس يغارون على الدم اكثر مما يغارون على الماء يا محمود.
لا بس انا قصدي لو 2 اختاروا القتل، لو واحد اختار القتل التاني اختار القتل ليه؟
واحد ممكن اصيل يقول لا انا مستعد اتنازل عن المال، انا اخترت ان يقتل. انت تكون ممكن ذكاء مثل اليهود يكون نفس الشيء، عرفت ازاي؟ نفس الشيء. لكن في ناس عندهم الثأر يعني لا يجب ان اختار ان يموت، يجب ان اختار.
هو في الحالة دي هيقتل برضه.
هو هيقتل كده يا شيخ يعني.
لا يبقى قتل بمزاج.
It's a smart idea. So for those that don't understand what Mahmoud was saying, he's saying if two people, the person killed two people. Okay, the person killed two people. And so if they both agree to kill the person, he's going to die either way. So if one chooses that he's going to die, the smart thing to do is for the other family to choose the blood money. That way at least you benefited. A few $100 grand. And I said, this is a way of thinking for Bani Israel. Always thinking about money. Allah understand. But some people, why is Shariah still give them the choice? Because some people, they have it in them that they need to be able to say that my word led to his death. They need to be able to say that in order for that fire in them to fade away. Some people are like that, subhanAllah. Mahmoud, خلاص, we know what he's going to choose. لا قدر الله something happens.
الباب اللي بعده ترى في من شو اسمه قتل الجماعات. لعل تشرح ان شاء الله. الاسبوع القادم ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله.
Since al-qawl till here, is anything applicable in today's time?
All of this.
Today's time.
Yeah, in Saudi Arabia, this is still there. In Yemen, still there. Sometimes you see on Facebook, you see like videos from Yemen, where and even Saudi Arabia, same thing. The families, they all come together. And you have one side, the person who was the murderer, they'll be like begging, please, like forgive the person. Like we'll give you this and we'll give you this and we'll give you this. And they start to increase the amount. And then the other family, they would have already discussed what they want to do. Some they'll be willing to forgive, some not. No matter what you say, we're going to apply to kill. Yeah, many places this is still applied, alhamdulillah. Even, طبعا, not in the same sense, but like in, for example, America, where they saw the death penalty in some states. So you're found guilty of murder, you're going to be killed. We say there's a tweak Islamically that instead of saying kill straight away, give the family the choice. Give the family the choice. Do they want him to be killed, or do they want the blood money, or to forgive?
If someone's going to inherit, do they have to say right now do they want him killed or not? Because for the example I gave, someone's just young and they still got 10, 15 years to choose. Do they have to say now that I want him to die or I want the blood money?
No, the qadi can give them time. The judge can give them time.
And if one of them said they want the blood money, everyone's getting the blood money, no one is getting...
Correct, no one's allowed to kill them. If they kill them, they've committed the sin, But they don't get killed because of it, because it was still part of their haqq technically to kill the person. But they've committed a sin and they can get punished by the government, but they won't be killed.
And can they change their mind?
One question at a time.
إذا
And you
القاتل
can't do 1A and 1B and 1C.
إذا القاتل هرب
You need to
في
ask him
نلحق
how
عائلته ولا لا؟
لا لا لا.
ما بيلحقوا؟
انه مشان
لا انه ياخذوا المصاري.
اذا هو هرب المفروض انه اذا الاهل اختاروا بياخذوا. اذا اهل اختاروا. بس اذا اختاروا الدية ما فين يرجعوا يقتلوه بعدين.
بس فيهم ياخذوا المصاري من الفاميلي إذا هو هرب.
إذا هيدا بيكون صدقة من الأهل، هني فين يتبرعوا. طبعا القتل الشبه العمد والخطأ يجب على الأهل أن يساعدوا، بس بهالحالة لا ما يجب. فبيضل إنه بس بيلحقوه بيجيبوه السلام عليكم. إلا إذا الأهل قالوا نحن ندفع لكم الدية وأنتوا تتنازلوا عن حقه، فيهم، لأن بيرجع للأهل. Saying if the murderer ran away, and so now they can't capture him and kill him, but the family of the murderer said, listen, we will pay the blood money on his behalf. It's the right of the family. So if the family of the one who was killed, if the family of the killed say, khalas, we'll accept it, you guys want to give on his behalf, we'll accept it, no problem, then they can. But obviously if they accept the blood money, then they can't try and kill him later on if they found him. Any other questions, Shabab?
Can they change their mind? The inheritors?
Allahu Alam. Obviously they can change their mind, but until when? Is it up until they carry out the tanfidh? Allahu Alam.
إلى ما قبل تنفيذ القصاص، إلى ما تنفذ.
دقيقة.
شيخ، هلا في عالم كثير عادات وتقاليد، انا قتلت واحد وهربت، بيجي التاني بيقتل اخي او ابن عمي، هيدا من الاسلام هالشيء؟
لا لا ابدا، ظلم. ظلم.
يعني هو اللي قتل بده يتحاسب واللي التاني قتل بده يتحاسب.
والقاتل الثاني قصاص، نفس الشيء، فيه يموت من وراء هالشيء، لأن شو خص هداك؟ شو ذنبه؟
شيخ القتل العمد الأهل مش لازم يساعدوا.
صحيح.
لكن الشبه عمد والخطأ
يجب على العاقلة، يعني العصب من الذكور من جانب الأب.
قتل عمد هل يحد القصاص مباشرة أو
لا الخيار للأهل. إذا عمد إما أن يقتصوا يعني يقتلوه، أو يقبلوا الدية، أو يعفو عنه. Any other questions about سبحانك وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا، بارك الله فيكم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.